Al Cervix says next bum fight. Yes. 4:05 p.m. Eastern. Las Vegas Raiders at the LA Chargers. We're at SoFi Stadium. Beautiful place to watch a football game. My pops will be there. Season ticket holder for the Chargers. 2023 Raiders defense 15th overall, 12th versus the pass, 21st versus the run. Raiders offense 27th overall, 23rd passing, 30th rushing. You know, I just can't fathom that this, you have this coach for the Raiders that they're willing to go through a wall for. They will smash through a concrete wall for. So why don't you guys draft a quarterback that you for, if you have to trade up, do whatever you can to draft a quarterback that you believe in, and then start rebuilding. Minshew mania, do you really want a serviceable, why waste a year? Why have everybody just waste a year here? And that's what it feels like is going to happen in Las Vegas. This total is at 40. It's come down from 43.5. Now, you could have got this at 42.5, a week ago. So that's gone, not to come back. So I'm not going to worry about that. That's gone. Not going to worry about this under. And then from a point spread standpoint, Chargers are sitting -3, and that's at -102. They opened up at 3.5. I mean, that's a big move down to 3. Also, this +3 for Las Vegas is -108. It's juiced towards them. So it's a pretty legitimate move towards these Raiders. From a cash flow standpoint here, we get to the afternoon action. We made it through the 1 o'clock games. We'll speed up. We'll get out of here in about by 11. We have 33% of tickets, 34% of cash on the Chargers. The Raiders are public. 86% of tickets and 66% cash on the over, and it's dropped to 40.5. Obviously, the under is very, very sharp. And you have Devontae Adams, a legit weapon from Minshew. This team only scored 19.5 points per game last year. Luke Getsy, a former Bears offensive coordinator. Brock Bowers been dealing with his foot injury. He says he's good to go. We're going to see a ton of 2 tight end sets. It's good that, that he's healthy. We were wondering whether he'd be good to go. They draft Jackson Powers Johnson in the second round. This left side of the offensive line is very strong. It's the right side that's questionable. Left side's got Miller, Parham, and Andrew James at center. Jacoby Meyer across from Devontae Adams. That's nice. Zamir White. I like him getting the opportunity. I get all of this. This defense was much improved last year. You bring in Christian Wilkins, an interior defensive lineman, to help Max Crosby, who's an absolute monster. They did not get enough out of Tyree Wilson last year. Maybe they can this year. The secondary features really good, strong, young cornerbacks. They have a nice linebacking tandem in Diablo and Spillane. It's just, I don't get the choices at quarterback here. 2023 Chargers defense, 28th overall, 30th versus pass, 17th versus the run. 2023 Chargers offense, 18th overall, 13th passing, 25th in rushing. So, Harbaugh comes in and, he brings in his guy, Jesse Minter, which makes sense. They draft Junior Colson, an off-ball linebacker, and we know how helpful that can be. Obviously, Brandon Staley was such an ass clown that these moves were important, and I really like, drafting Alt 5th overall just to show everybody that we're going to go back to the basics, because everything that's gone down here has been a train wreck. Let's go back to the basics. Let's protect our prized possession at quarterback. They bring in Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. Let's Eckler go. They have Will Dissly to block. All of this makes sense. Now, Herbert's been dealing with plantar fasciitis. We have to keep an eye on it. He says it's no longer an issue. You know how long that can stick with you. No more Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. I expect Quentin Johnson to be better. How could you be worse? And I expect a bounce back. Joshua Palmer can bounce back. DJ Shark's dealing with a hip injury. He may not be able to go. Ladd McConkey ready to roll, though, in the slot. They signed Hayden Hurst. The offensive line looks stronger. And Minter's defense, looks stronger. Joey Bosa claims he's healthy. He doesn't have the club on his left hand anymore. He broke that hand. So he's recovered. You got Dupree and Poona Ford coming in. Kendricks is banged up, but they say he's going to be able to play. Derwin James hated playing in Staley's defense, so maybe he is a much, much better year. Maybe remember why he was so highly thought of. Take it away for us here, Troy. Raiders, Chargers.
Yeah, I don't love this 3:00 slate that much, this middle afternoon slate, but I'll definitely give you what I do got. Obviously we have an instant coaching upgrade and the team improves instantly with Staley getting out of Dodge. I mean, the defense was just pitiful last year. I talk about it, remind you, every freaking snap. Before every snap, there was a fire drill to get lined up. Nobody was lined up correctly. People are pointing at each other, throwing up their arms. We won't see any of that moving forward, I don't believe. And with some of the big name players, on paper, this defense is still solid. I mean, you talked about them. I think the defensive backfield has a bunch of room for improvement. Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa could. Actually, Khalil Mack didn't have much of a down year, but Joey Bosa was nothing like he used to be. He was clearly a different player. And under new coaching, new leadership, this defense should be massively improved. Now, to what extent, it's hard to quantify, but we'll let it play out. I still believe in Herbert. I know, at some point you're a product of your environment with terrible coaching and terrible leadership that's going to rub off on your franchise quarterback. I think he is a top 10 NFL quarterback, given the right circumstances, easily. They invested in their offensive line. I think they might have two of the best tackles in the NFL. We'll see. I know that the rookie that they drafted is highly touted. So we'll see how that develops. Two young receivers that I believe in, Quentin Johnson, Ladd McConkey. The two running backs, not that big of a deal. But I think that this offense should be fine under new leadership and with Herbert at quarterback. On the Raiders side, that it's kind of where I've been leaning, especially watching this market develop. You got Minshew, who's the golden standard for a backup quarterback in the NFL, but now he's your starter. He could potentially be starting caliber. I mean, he has a little bit of upside, but his decision-making, down and distance decision-making specifically, he's proven to fail. Just like Luke Getsy, the new offensive coordinator, has proven to be a failure. But so I'm not high on this Raiders offense at all. The one group that stands out to me is their slot is 19th in the power ratings. I see top 10 potential. I think they're strong at tackle, they're strong at center. They have a good baseline foundation for their offensive line. They drafted 2 linemen in the first 2 rounds. I think that this offensive line is going to be really good for a few years to come. But I'm just not very high on this offense, especially with Getsy. I don't know if he's going to be able to pull it all together. I don't believe he will. And I think the Raiders defense, I think they had an impressive 2023. PFF had him at 9th overall. No players really grading out below average. They're obviously strong on the front with Crosby, Kuntz, and Wilkins. A secondary with plenty of upside. This is a Raiders or pass for me, especially in this divisional matchup in week 1. Lines moving towards them. This is a Raiders or pass, but I don't feel comfortable moving on it. I probably don't feel comfortable moving on it because of how much sorrow this Chargers team brought me last year. And I just will wait and get more information before I invest in this Chargers games.
The under, I should have bet. I should have bet at 42.5. Sometimes in week 1, it's funny. I shouldn't have let this go in week 1. I maybe it's just so caught up in CFL right now or in NCAA football starting. I should have moved on this 42.5. I had the opportunity to. Now it's a 40.5. It's clearly the sharp look. That was a mistake. I'll have to live with. But I understand the under. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is the Raiders plus 3.5. We all watch spreadsheet deliver time and time again. And Birdie saying, I think you need that hook to move on the Raiders. And I think that makes sense to me. I'll be keeping an eye on the line in total, but I made a mistake. I wish I was already on this under, and I'm not going to move on it now.